So my name is Julia Stadnichuk, and I'm the official representative of the international public movement Politics 2.0. Today I've made a stream from the polling station in Moscow, Russia, where I'm registered, of how I kept my ballot paper. I didn't allow this election committee use it to kind of reproduce the existing regime. Because we know right now that the voting process and the referendum process, which we don't see because the referendums don't happen in Russia much, are actually specially designed so that the regime could keep itself, and the process is designed this way. And the Central Election Committee is a kind of, specially created organ which is supposed to reproduce the regime. At the same time, we know that in the constitution it is stipulated that the nation is the source of power, and votings and elections and referendums are the two forms of the executing of the power directly by the nation. So we seemingly have a conflict right now here, because on the one hand, basing on the constitution, which is the main law in Russia, and all the other laws should correspond to the constitution, and this is direct law, which acts directly, which is active directly. We see that we do have power. We are supposed to have power in the country, and we are supposed to be the sovereign of the nation, of the country, the nation itself. On the other hand, we see the process which doesn't actually allow us to act according to the fact that we are according to the constitution, basing on the fact that we are the source of power, because we actually cannot execute the power. All the information we have regarding the elections right now, and it's not only Russia, it actually happens in many other countries, that first of all, you do not really have a choice. You do not see any candidates who really correspond to your interest, who address your interest and your needs. You see some people which very often you don't know, or you know that they do not represent your interests. On the other hand, you know that once they're elected, you lose every single means of control over them. You cannot control what they are doing. Even if they promise you something, you don't know what they're going to be doing, and you have no control over them. In Russia, at least, we do not have any opportunity to recall the elected deputy, to somehow make him act according to his promises. So this is, the conflict we are facing, the conflict that the election system doesn't allow us to execute the power, and on the other hand, the constitution says that we do have the right to execute the power. And seemingly, we do not have any way out of this conflict. It seems like, and a lot of people are saying actually this way, that all you can do is just leave aside elections. You cannot do anything there, just keep away from this. Let them do something they want, but you cannot do anything about this, so stay home or go outside, have a good time, enjoy yourself, don't go to elections, anyway, you don't control it. Other people say, no, please go to elections. You have to go to elections. You have to elect somebody, because this is your power. You have to do this. You have to influence things. But how can you influence if you don't know the person, and if you cannot control what he's doing after he's promised you a lot? In fact, there is another way. There is a third way, which is the only way right now. This is the way which in Russia it corresponds to the third article of the constitution, but it also corresponds to the international covenant of the political and civil rights, which almost all the countries have signed. And this document says, this is an international document, it's acknowledged by a vast majority of the countries all over the world. It says that the nation has the right to execute the power either directly or via elections, which means that if you do not want to go to elections, you actually have the right to execute the power directly. The majority of the constitutions correspond to this document and also say that you, the members of the nation, have the right to execute the power directly. And this right is not limited by any constitutional act. It is only somehow restricted by the laws. It's limited. But generally speaking, it's not limited on the constitutional level. You do have this right. How can you do this? Since all the things that are happening in politics, I mean, citizens and their lives in politics, it means that they have to go to elections. But in fact, elections is the delegating of power. You have your power as a nation. You're the source of power, so you have this power, and you delegate it to somebody. So this somebody would act on your behalf. But since he doesn't act on your behalf, why delegate to him? Why keep the power to yourself? But on the other hand, there is a question. The question appears: how can I keep the power? Is it just not going to elections? Is it just staying home? No, it doesn't work this way. If you stay home, you allow the system to use your vote, even if you don't know about this. In Russia, we've seen lots of scandals about that. So if you have a look at my previous stream from the polling station, you will see that you come to the election station, to the polling station, and you get your ballot paper. And this ballot paper is the very important constitutional document, which says that you have your electoral rights. And this document says that you have it right now in your hands. This is the document which proves that you have your civil rights, you have your political rights, you have your power to delegate or not to delegate the power. And this is in your hand only when you go to the polling station. So the only way for you not to delegate the power and keep it to yourself is to keep this ballot paper to yourself. This is the document that proves that you have your power, you have kept it, you haven't delegated to anybody. I'm not sure how it happens in other countries, but I know, and I'm totally sure actually, that it's very much like with Russia. In Russia, the ballot paper is a very serious question, a very serious document, which is printed with all kinds of levels of protection, which has special marks on it, printed on special paper. It has very limited number of copies printed out and given out. And it is given out only when you come to a polling station, you show your passport, you prove that you're a citizen, you get this, and you sign for this, and it's somehow registered that you have come to the polling station, you have received your ballot paper. So this is a very serious document which you receive only according to some procedure. Keeping this ballot paper is keeping the power to yourself. And once you have the document proving that you haven't delegated the power, you have kept it to yourself, you can actually start acting on your own. But your actions should not be based on some anarchy ideas. Your actions should be based only on Constitution and the laws of your country. And you should act according to the interest of your country and make actually the state work according to the Constitution, to the main laws, so that it worked for you, for the nation. How can you do this? In Russia, our movement, Politics 2.0, we've studied the laws, and we saw that there is one function of power, let's call it this way. So when you have a power, which means that you can make things do according to your will. This is your will, and you actually influence some process so that the process would go according to your will. Your power in politics means that you can influence the conduct of public affairs. You just don't only have a right, but you actually can influence. There are lots of functions to this, a lot of aspects to this executing the power. Once we started studying Russian laws, we found out that we actually can execute the controlling function, which means that we can supervise the state bodies, the institutional bodies, the state's institutions, so that they would act according to the laws of the country, of our country. And thus, we will actually make things work, and we will see where the failures are, where there are mistakes, where there are gaps, and it doesn't work. How can you make some institution work according to the law? You can go to court. And having your ballot paper, you can prove, actually, this is a long way for sure, but you can prove that you have your power and you have the right to make this state institution act according to the law. And you are protecting not your personal interests, not your apartment, not some specific personal financial interest, but you are protecting the interest of the nation, the part of which you are. And that's why we regard keeping the ballot paper as the key process to securing the democracy right now, because right now we live in the society of the crisis, total crisis of the democracy. We are facing this total crisis. We know that just representative democracy doesn't work. We give our votes to some people and they just don't do what they promised. So we don't know what they're doing. We have no control over them, no power over them. But it's not how it's supposed to be. And we know it doesn't work this way. So you cannot elect somebody totally independent, because now the politicians have become some kind of political casta. You cannot go into it and they do not fall out of it. This is a casta. This is a closed circle of people. Their children become politicians, grandchildren become politicians, their relations become politicians, or some finance people. You cannot influence them right now. So just leave them aside. Don't delegate your power to them. Keep the power to yourself. Execute it directly. This actually places some kind of responsibility over you. This places some kind of responsibility over citizens, over mere citizens who just have to gain this experience of working according to the law. But this is your country. All the countries are the countries for their citizens, for their nations. This is your country. You have to learn it, and you can learn it. There's no rocket science. There's nothing so specifically complicated so that nobody could just learn it. Anybody can learn it. Politicians are not genetically, wiser, cleverer, or whatever, smarter than most of the people. Quite often, it's quite the opposite. So you can actually learn the things by yourself, find this way in your country, and keep the country to yourself, and just leave aside the politicians. Once you stop delegating the power to them, they will have no opportunity to go on being politicians, because how? They are not legitimate without your vote given to them. They are not legal without your vote. So they just, they vanish. And we started this in Russia a year and a half ago, and we keep on keeping our ballot papers on all elections. We've kept our ballot papers on presidential elections, then on regional elections, now on city elections, which took place in Moscow today. And we are sharing our experience, and we are sharing the understanding of the legal procedures, so that because there is actually a reason to this, and the very important reason. Right now, the globalization leads us to the disappearance of the national states. And we are very likely to come up to the world, which is, a united world with some kind of leveraged nation, people all just the same, all mixed together in some kind of, with no national features. And this kind of global state will actually bring us to a totally structured society, which will not allow any social lifts. Because there is a financial elite, international financial elite, I guess it's quite obvious to anybody. The transnational companies, and especially financial institutions, have so much money, they have accumulated so much money that they can control political lives all over the world, in all countries. So once the national borders disappear, all the citizens will become just like almost slaves to those financial elites. If you keep your national state, you have according to the constitution, to the international documents, you have a chance to keep it to yourself and to destroy this political casta and make the state live according to traditions, to the way you want to live, to the things that you are used to, and keep the society the way you're used to seeing and to living in. If you just forget about your national state, you will become a slave to this electronic concentration camp, global electronic concentration camp. You see the features, you see these signs just lurking already, because you see that we have lots of common food, and national traditional food disappears. Traditional cinema disappears. Traditional languages disappear. Our traditional life, the things we are used to, the relations that we used to, they disappear, they just go away. And we are becoming more and more alike, and at the same time less and less attractive, because we are losing what makes us different, what makes us really individual and really nationally different from each other. And being Orthodox Christians, we in Russia, in our movement, it's international public movement, not only Russians are in this movement. We understand that the nation is a kind of limit which which God has given to people. You have yourself, you have the freedom of will, total absolute freedom of will for yourself. You have a family to take care of, and you have the nation, which is quite a second circle. You have your nation to take care of, being parts of this national family. And this is what God gave us, and He created us different. He made us different. So this is why keeping the nations, it's like keeping ourselves and keeping our families. Taking care of the nation is a very important thing which everybody should do. Otherwise, we disappear. We lose traditions. We just disappear as individuals. And right now, we do have this power, because this absolute total freedom of will, it is transferred in all the documents, in all the constitutions and international pacts, in covenants and all the other documents. It says there that the nation is to decide. The nation is the source of power. This is the freedom of will, that you, being a part of the nation, is the source of power. And once you personally start acting, things are changing. If you don't start acting, if you just wait for somebody to act, things are not changing, because somebody is waiting for you to act. And you can, by small steps, keeping your ballot paper for yourself, studying the law, talking to the selection steps, just keeping your ballot paper for yourself, studying the law, talking to the selection committee and saying that, guys, you are breaking the law, I have the right to do this. You start changing things for yourself, and other people having a look at you, they will also start to make your things. And this is the only way right now for us to keep our national states, to keep our traditional state, and to keep ourselves as free people, as God created us. Otherwise, we are really becoming slaves, because we not acting right now, not protecting our national states and our our political rights, actually, we are giving away this freedom of will, by not protecting it right now, because this is the attack on our freedom of will which is taking place right now. So the elections really do mean a lot, and keeping your ballot paper does mean a lot. This is a long way. This is a very what's a complex way. Yeah, you have to learn a lot of things. You have to read a lot of things, but this is possible. This is feasible. This is something everybody can do. And right now we have the right. We can read any kind of paper. Even if this paper is written in some kind of rare language, you can Google translate it. So you have to keep it. And we call our movement Politics 2.0 because we've described this concept of the direct democracy of the digital era, called it Politics 2.0. This is not just electronic democracy, as this fact is discussed. Electronic democracy means that just bringing electronic devices into the existing democracy procedures. No, this is direct democracy of the digital era. Digital era has brought to us quite a number of new things and approaches, not only technologies, the fast connection, the gadgets, all these pads and other things. It has also brought to us new approaches to information, new ways how we consume information, how we participate in creating the content, how we join together in order to kind of create new opportunities. And it has brought to us the new approach to visual information, which hasn't existed 30 years ago and 50 years ago. Right now, we are used to having those, icons and some kind of infographics. We are used to getting information, those visual things like infographics. And this is something which should be used in order to make direct democracy easy for the people, not just using the devices and the fast connection. but also using these approaches of the digital era. The approaches that we are used to using our smartphones. We are used to downloading new applications and studying instructions, visual instructions mostly. We are used to taking some parts in some new things and crowdfunding and joining together for some discussions and leaving comments. This is the new approach the digital era has brought to us. We are used to solve issues by just finding online some experts. We can, you can write an article by yourself, or you can just go to some kind of chat and discuss something with a lawyer or with a doctor. This is the new approach. So Politics 2.0 is using these new approaches and the new technology, of course, the fast connection, these smartphones, in order to create the true direct democracy, which can only exist right now in the digital era we are living in right now. It couldn't exist 5 or 10, even 5 years ago and 10 years ago, but it can exist now. But the nation itself, only the nation, only the people of the citizens of the country are the only ones who are interested in this. The political caste doesn't want it to come, because the direct democracy is something they do not want. They want representative democracy. They want you to vote for them so that they would do something they want without any control from your side. And direct democracy means that you will be electing the Minister for Finance by yourself, and he will be reporting to you. And you will have a chance to say, hey, you haven't promised this, you haven't done what you've promised, so you have to go. We have to elect another one. And the elections right now are such a complex issue only because the new technologies are not used there. If you use it, and it's already being used in Switzerland, if you do it like on blockchain technology, you can run elections like every week. It's like nothing. It doesn't take so many papers printed out and so many people sitting in some kind of place and signing papers and all that, and all those cars and aircrafts taking those papers from one place to another. No, you don't have to do this. You only have to create some kind of digital platform for voting, protect, and blockchain technology allows this. Blockchain, for example, I'm sure there will be new technologies developed which will secure even more protection to the data. But even if we take blockchain technology, for example, you can using this blockchain technology, you can protect the personal data of the voters. You can still have all kinds of statistics you want. And you can run elections every day because, you just take your smartphone, you have a look at your smartphone and you think, okay, I'm going to vote for this and this, and I have new information and I don't agree to this. I don't support this law. I do not want this law. I want new information to be given to me. And it seems very complex because the state doesn't function right now like this. But you have to go back to this idea of democracy, which is the power derived from the people. And this is the people who actually create the state, people who make the state to make their lives easier. The state is kind of some kind of organization, some kind of system, which takes care of this infrastructure of the nation, living of the nation. That's it. It's just providing the infrastructure. And once you have a look at the state like this, the state will function the way you want it to function. If you go back to direct democracy principles, there will be something you can control. And right now, living in the digital era, we can do this. And the nations have to do this. And the nations have to come to this direct democracy principles using the achievements of the digital era. Otherwise, the nation will just lose everything. They will become like not individuals, like, one of the members of this, equal members of this global concentration camp. Unfortunately, you can see social ideas being widely discussed in the world right now, not only in Russia, but in Europe, in the United States even. And socialism means that you are equal in poverty, not that you are equal in wealthness, but you are equal in poverty. So social ideas means that you are totally equal and you don't have anything like everybody else. Unlike the elite, who has anything, but you cannot go closer to them. So in case you have any questions regarding Politics 2.0 and you would like me to go on speaking in English and giving more streams, please leave your comments and questions under this video, and we will just consider answer them, and we'll make further streams. Right now we are moving to Periscope platform. You can see the Periscope address in this drop-down box down below this video. Please sign up to my Periscope account and you can join my streams there. Right now I'm switching back to Russian, so thank you so much for your attention, and please leave your comments and questions.